Hello guys, welcome to the live for today for the second T20 and we have Nikhil Bhai with us to share all his visualizations for this game. How are you doing, Nikhil Bhai?
All good. Nearly cracked a good one last time, but yeah, it's been good few weeks. But yes, बार बार तो नहीं होगा, but yeah, hopefully on the right path.
I'm sure I feel like sometimes the silence is before the storm, so hopefully it's that. And as I've been seeing with you, so many of your games have been coming so close.
Yeah, sometimes it feels very like, "Arey, why is it happening with me?" But then realize that it's not always easy for you to even come close. So like for two
Yeah.
months of IPL, I was not even getting close in many games. But ever since the IPL has gotten over, I've sort of recovered whatever little I've lost in those 2 months. So you keep trying, and you obviously need a lot of luck.
And how do you see today's game going? What is the sort of panning out that you're expecting with so many of the senior players coming back, and who do you see taking the axe?
Yeah, I do see two changes maybe for sure. But again, I'm very interested to see who goes out rather than who comes in, uh, because then that will dictate how India will shape up. Because they played very well last game, and the
Hmm.
intent was right there to go from ball one. So maybe Kishan goes out, Kohli comes in and opens. I'm not ruling out Pant coming in and opening as well, uh, because I feel maybe that's where he maybe played. I don't know. It's just a very outrageous call. But again, too many options for India. Hopefully,
Hmm.
they play the right way and not depend on individuals to play the other way.
And interestingly, KL Rahul is still not even in the squad, and once he comes back from injury, surely many of the informed younger players might have to take the axe.
Yeah, so which is why it makes it very good competition to have that. Your game has to be on top, uh, because there are so many people now who are scoring runs. Just because of your name, you're not going to be in that team. So the pressure will be there on most of the seniors, which is great to
Hmm.
see.
And how do you see Birmingham playing? Because I've seen that in the Blast there have been 180 plus seems to be the average
Yeah.
score here. So do you see that happening with international quality bowling attacks? And I think both teams have, especially India, has the most spruced up attack in this game.
Yeah, I do feel we might see a high scoring game, but it might be a one inning that might be very high scoring.
Hmm.
Again, Edgbaston has had a lot of games recently, so I don't know whether we are going to use a fresh pitch or a used one. And usually, spinners have done better in the second innings, uh, very marginally, but pacers have done much better in the first innings, and then spinners have done better in the second innings. So if you get a very big score like India did last time, you can stifle the opposition with good spin bowling, and that's where I think if England bowled second, Moeen
Hmm.
Ali again will become critical along with Matt Parkinson.
Right. And Ali, we saw got hit for quite a few runs, but also took important wickets. So, do you see India playing acceleration against spin and more conservatively against pace, or you just feel like they will go all out against all types of bowling?
Yeah, I think now it's time to make that phrase very known now that they have to go Jai Mata Di every single time, uh, no matter who's bowling. Again, it has to be smart in terms of you don't have to be reckless. I think
Hmm.
Deepak Hooda is a perfect example that if the ball is not there, you don't go after it. But it's there, you want to make him bowl bad balls, then you have to put the pressure on him. I think that is where India's even limited overs batting at times has been found wanting, because of let's wait for him to make a mistake rather than making the bowlers make a mistake. So I think that's where the shift has come.
Hmm.
Now it's tricky to do it on every kind of pitch. So it will be very interesting to see how India learn to find that balance.
Right. Okay. I guess we have already a huge set of fantasy related questions. So, guys, we'll start taking your questions one by one. You can put them in the comments box. So, the first question, which is a golden question for most people, is this a good game for small leagues?
Sir, I have thankfully, unfortunately, stopped playing small leagues mostly. Again, on the most common platform, definitely yes, because I feel people are really going great with their visualizations and they come with very risky teams. So then I don't want to make a team which I don't think will do well, but I have to make because there are a lot of common players that will be picked. So uh, I am the mini GL Grand League person only since the last few months now, years also, if you want to say. Test matches are the best place to play small league. Again, the good thing with small league for such games is because there are so many options, people can nullify
One,
each other's picks. If
right.
everybody takes one or two, unless you are playing TNPL, where the one player that you will drop will take 3 wickets, will affect 5 runouts, will take 100 points as well with the bat. So again, that is something that you can't control. And then those games are worst for fantasy because in those games you need a particular set of players only to win,
To
which
win, yeah.
kind of nullifies when you're playing international T20 because there are so many much better options. So you can still go ahead and play small leagues, but then your selections have to be such that you're not too far behind with the common selection price.
Right, and I feel like with the smaller games with lesser quality players, the chance and the margin of error is very little. Like we see in many
Yeah,
women's games where there are top 12, 13 players who make everybody's team, but if you make one differential pick and that does not work, then your game
yeah.
is over. Right.
Then you're done. There's no point. There's no way to come back also because more than the 10 players are safe. It's just that one guy who's not worked out or one player who's not worked out, and then you're done.
Right. So the first question is, I think Chahal will be good pick for captain or vice captain, and the merge question to this is, how about any bowler as a captain? So this is a good question, keeping in mind that there have been really high scores here. But if you and but the other fact also being that 5 out of 8 or somewhere about that sort of stat have been won by the teams batting first. So if you feel like the team batting first can rack up a big score, then maybe your second innings bowlers can be captain or vice captain. Or we always know that the first innings that bowler is a decently safe sort of captaincy or vice captaincy choice. But would you rely on someone like Bowie to maybe take two or three up front unless you see grass on the pitch? Maybe not here.
Yep, very fairly said. And because the options are such, like you have Jordan, you have Temal Mills, and then you have Harshal Patel. So you have quite a few options who are, you will bank them to take at least a couple, if not
Hmm.
more than that. So then I think as a captain, you should definitely be happy with 50 to 100 points for surety if you want that.
Right, unless you're like totally convinced that some batsman is going to hit 50 plus, which
100%.
is, yeah,
Yeah.
again, big margin for error. But if you're really confident, then you can go with it. Who will Virat Kohli replace today? So I think Kishan and Huda are the only potential options. So who do you think so,
I
Nikhil bhai?
don't, I hope Huda is not replaced
Hmm.
because then you're not rewarding good form. And Sky cannot be replaced because the roles are very different. So I think it has to be Kishan only. Unfortunately, or however. I think Kitchen has got enough games to be honest,
True.
and he hasn't quite looked himself as well. So maybe good time to give him a break.
Hmm. Should we drop Roy versus Bumrah and Bhuvi? So I think before Nikhil Bhai answers this, one key thing that you should look at, one big mistake that we make is we think that if a player gets out for 20 to 25, it's a win for us. But you also have to see if the person who's replacing him can actually scale that and hit 35, 40 runs or scale up in the same manner in the player that you're replacing. So I think that's a mistake that I myself make many times where I drop an opener and I feel like acha he's out for 15 or 20, but then I come to know that my differential pick didn't get much of an opportunity. So you have to think about how that replacement player will also work. But on whether you feel Roy, Bhuvi or Bumrah will get him out, I'll leave that to Nikhil.
See, that's it. Again, dropping an opener is always going to be tricky, but I did him in the first game purely because of his numbers at the venue. He averaged 8
Hmm.
in Southampton, and thankfully he played like he couldn't bat. But his average in Edgbaston is 30.
Hmm.
That's a lot. So it's either ways you take one call whether you feel they will do well with the swing. If you feel they will be swing, then you drop Roy. But then you have
Hmm.
to be smart enough to draw. You have to be smart enough, sorry, to drop one more option from the top order. Because if the Roy is getting out early, maybe the next guy can also get out early. So then you have to make your picks very smartly, as Viren rightly pointed that if you're dropping one guy, even if it comes good for 2025, your pick has to be able to at least match that so that you're not missing on because not many people might make Roy captain, vice captain. But again, if
Right.
he's chasing, it's a better option to make him a vice captain as well, because again, not every time there will be swing. Uh, I don't think anybody expected so much swing in the second innings in the first T20. So conditions are always going to dictate how things go.
And in fact, in the first T20I, most of the batting options actually didn't end up doing well. So I dropped Kishan thinking that it was a win, but then not like the other replacement batters did too
Yeah,
much better. So I think that's a key thing that everybody should think about.
yeah.
GL tips for this game.
So GL tips, so as we said, back pacers in the first innings, spinners in the second. If you feel they will, again, these are like very common options that you try out. That you have to
Hmm.
try a few middle order options. If you're dropping, if you're taking Bhuvi and Bumrah both, and you're expecting new ball wickets, pack the middle order of England. Take Sam Curran, take Moeen Ali, take Liam Livingstone, so that you are countering the entire combination. I think what we've also realized with time is just the GL picks are not important. It's the combination that you make. You cannot just
Hmm.
have one GL pick and have the combination that doesn't suit that guy. Like if you're making somebody like a UG Chahal or a Harshal Patel captain, you have to also imagine that somebody else will not take wickets for him to take so many, or you're
Right.
telling that everybody will take one and then he'll take two to three. So all of that has to be considered when you make somebody your Grand League option. But two very obvious ones will be Harry Brook if England bat first, and Virat Kohli if India chase.
Virat Kohli is a GL option today. That's what tells us about the form that we have. But
Yeah,
like Nikhil Bhai pointed out, one thing that you have to decide is who will you drop within that team because that guy's gonna do well. So you eliminate the other people or you eliminate few of the other people, but also eliminate the person who is going to play in that phase in front of him. So like he mentioned, if you feel Harshal Patel will do well, you also have to ensure that England's finisher or death batter does not feature in your team or does not feature in an important role in your team because
yeah,
he is also expected to fail as per your combination.
correct.
11 p.m. games in Bridgetown are high scoring, but 7 p.m. games are averaging at about 165, 170. What is your thought on this? So I think 165, 170 is still like about a pass score, right? So, and it does not really affect our combination much because at the end of the day, whether even at Birmingham, when they score 190 or 200, they still end up losing as many wickets in the death. So it's about trying to figure out which batters you want to pick because the bowlers are pretty much standard, except for if you're taking a second inning spinner differential or first inning spacer differential, as Nikhil mentioned.
Yes, and also the biggest factor is no due. I think that it plays a massive role as compared to matches in some other countries because both departments are always in the game. So I think
Right.
that is also a good factor to keep in mind when you're making your selections.
Will Hardik bowl full 4 overs if Jadeja is in the playing 11? That's a good question.
I think Hardik will bowl with a new ball for sure, even if Bumrah is playing, because I think that's the best possible use of Hardik. We saw that with Gujarat as well. Whenever there is something in it for the bowlers, I think Hardik has always been a very underrated bowler. I feel sometimes Hardik is a better bowler than he's a batter at times because of the options that he has. But again, it's very easy to lose your way with Hardik if he doesn't get his lines right. So the first over will always be key, be it Jadeja or Hardik. And with Jadeja, even with Akshar Patel, to be very honest, the confidence hasn't quite come through. That you really don't know what the kind of bowling or batting contributions they'll do in this format. That is because in the IPL as well, we saw Jadeja being very okay, very weird. Ravindra Jadeja and Akshar Patel is still not quite blossomed as the all-rounder that you want him to be. But still, Akshar is a better bet against left-handed options. Jadeja, I don't think bowls against left-handers as much, or he's not bagged enough. So that's a call that you can take because if spin is going to play a part, maybe in second innings Jadeja could come into the game, but it's a massive if. And if Hardik takes wickets with the new ball, then Jadeja's overs will definitely get cut. So it's a combinational thing, and it will depend a lot on the conditions.
Right. Okay, I think we are close to the toss,
Yeah.
and I will share my screen so we can look at the base team too. And like one of you rightly mentioned, the only prediction that I've got right in the last 2 days is Richard Gleason is going to debut, and I can proudly say that we predicted that 21 hours ago. So, yes, we have a debutant, and Nikhil Bhai, they want to hear your views on him.
Again, he's been in form for his club side, and just enough options for you to try out. Interesting to see who he replaces in the side, and whether he's going to bowl at the death or not, because he does bowl. He has a very good Yorker as well. So let's see who he replaces again. New bowlers, debutants are always great Grand League options for you to try out.
Right, yeah. So I guess you have to figure out if he's bowling first, then maybe you try him in a mini GL team, otherwise in a
Yeah.
Grand League team, because you don't know what to expect of him. Whatever we've seen of him in the Blast, he has
Yeah.
a very high economy rate, but then he also takes a lot of wickets. So I think that
Yes.
is the key point. Okay, so let's look at our base team then for this game, and we'll have to just wait on the toss before we decide our final picks. But before that, whatever we understand about the pitch, it looks to be pretty standard in terms of a good T20 batting wicket. But we like always, we do not get any additional information on how the pitch will do. So I guess you should make a standard combination and a few combinations based on past data on the same ground.
Yeah. It is so sad, right? Even in 2022, there is no way to get an accurate pitch report. It's
I
so hard.
guess I guess if the camera, if standing there, they're not able to tell us or give us the right information, it's very difficult for us to do that sitting and watching it on TV.
Yeah.
Also, guys, I will be sharing the team on the fan to play mode because we Dream 11 does not have a website app, but you can integrate it onto Dream 11 because I don't see too many credit issues in the game, so you can use the same team on Dream 11. That should not be a problem. Okay, we have the toss
England up to bowl.
of the ball. Okay, so that straight away puts Richard Gleason in the game.
Yes, definitely.
David
So
Willie is
use for
also in. Use okay, it's a use pitch.
yeah.
Guys,
Use
if you
pitch.
feel like you have an amazing Grand League pick or a differential pick, please feel free to drop it in the comments box. We're always happy to hear everyone's opinion. So please feel free to do that like always.
Yes. Okay. Top lead and timer out. William Gleason in. Interesting. So Gleason definitely will bowl at the dead then.
Hmm.
Gleason and Jordan.
But they used Sam Curran only for 2 overs the last game. So do you see him bowling more?
Um, she'll probably open now with no top lead. So you will see Billy and Sam Curran both open the batting, open the bowling. They can open the batting also. That's how good the side is. But again, it's so interesting to say that David Billy, Sam Curran can even open the batting. You understand that's the level of limited overs batting that they have. That Billy has opened for his club side. Sam Curran can also open.
Yeah, they practically have way too many batting and bowling options both.
Yeah, it's a proper T20 side.
Totally. Please confirm captain and vice captain changes. Yes, sir. Don't worry. I'll confirm all the changes. For now, we are just waiting on the playing 11.
Oh, I see. Jadeja is also playing. Interesting.
4 changes. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like four changes.
Guys, just give us a minute or two. We'll just figure out what the final changes are and then we can go ahead and discuss the teams. Last 2 matches in Birmingham, batting first 180 plus and batting second below
Yes.
100.
So as I said, if you get again the catch is to post 180. If you don't post 160, 170, 180, then the other side is also in the game. But if you're able to post that bigger score, then maybe you can find a way to stop the other team from getting back in the game.
Virat, Jadeja, Bumrah in. Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
waiting for the fourth change is not out yet.
Okay. So even Rohit was not able to remember that change at the toss.
Obviously, people don't know who is the captain of the side. Forget remembering changes.
Oh, sharp. Okay, the fourth change is Pant is in. So I'll just share the lineup quickly. Rohit Sharma and Kohli opening. This lineup is as per Dream 11. So please don't screen record this and blame me later. One down is Surya Kumar Yadav. Two down is Rishabh Pant. Three down Hardik Pandya. Four down Dinesh Karthik. And then you have Jadeja, Harshal, Bhuvi, Bumrah, and Chahal. So that is practically again we have six bowling options in this team. Huda is not playing, yes, as correctly mentioned. And for England, there are only two changes. So Gleeson and Willie are in.
But that's so unfortunate on Deepak Huda, man. You have to keep scoring so many runs, but you still can't get it to the side. That's
I
tough.
I can't say anything but brand value sells in Indian cricket always. If I say
Yeah,
anything more than that, then I'll be screeched.
yeah, we want the channel to be alive.
Okay, so I'm sharing my screen, guys. We'll look at the team. Otherwise, Nikhil Bhai will not come back here if I take his time post 6:45.
No such thing. It's just made the game more open for both sides. The changes
Okay, so
because
maybe we can. Yeah, go ahead, Nikhil.
because I think Kohli didn't play the South Africa series as well. So yeah, you just have to come in and blast.
So who do you see then going into our team with England bowling first?
So England bowling first. So definitely you take Rohit Sharma and Hardik Pandya from the people who've already played the game because
Right,
they've been
in
there and
camps,
they've done
yeah,
well. And Hardik Pandya
correct.
remains a very good captain option as well. So these two are there. And from India, you definitely take UC because second innings we are expecting spin to do well. So that makes it
True.
three definite people for India. Now you have plenty of options in terms of you have Kohli, you have Surya to pick from the batting section and Pant. Now Pant's batting has been indifferent, but he's scored a
Hmm.
lot of runs in test format as edge basting. So that's a call that you can. Uh, it's I think it's an even call between all three of them, and then you can obviously add another bowler there because Harshal
Right.
bowling second, I'm not quite sure, but
Hmm.
yeah,
So maybe we can
these three.
stick to these three base picks and look at the England side first.
Yeah,
So I think from the England side, you'll surely go with Butler again.
yeah,
In the batting, you want to back Roy, like you mentioned, he averages 30 years, so he should probably come good. And
yeah.
in the
And then
bowling,
you know, leaving
hmm,
Richard Gleeson because he'll bowl in the death with Jordan. So that's your death bowling sorted as well.
correct,
So this is probably a base team. Now, if you take Sam Curran, David Willey, you have to possibly drop Virat Kohli. Again, if you're expecting new ball
right.
wickets. And you have to take one finisher with Hardik. Who do you think will finish? So if that is Pant or Surya, that's a call that you can happily take.
Or the golden man.
Golden for sure.
Okay, so I think if you're a staunch believer in wickets at the death or wickets up front, then you're probably going to go with either of David Willey or Sam Curran, like you mentioned. Moeen
Yeah.
Ali, do you see him bowling more than 2 overs, sir, or how do you look at that panning out?
I think with India's top order now, if you see, almost everybody has a problem with Spain apart from Surya.
Correct.
I mean, Rohit has okay numbers. Virat has been able. People have been able to keep Virat quite with spinners, and then you have
Right.
Pant as well, who we don't know how he'll come good. So I think Moeen Ali still stays a very good option again because he'll bat also higher up the order. And last game we
Hmm.
saw he had enough luck to find his way to a good 35. So I think
Correct.
Moeen is still a very safe pick as compared to Sam Curran or say a David Willey.
Right. So I think we have very good set of eight base picks. Now it's about making the three key picks over and above this.
Yes.
So in the batting section, if you feel India is going to rack up a big score, then Surya is the man. If you feel like it's going to be a huge score, then Surya and Virat are the men. And if you feel like so, one key factor now would be that except for Rishabh Pant, there's not too much of left-handedness in this team. So will Liam Livingston come in with the ball?
Yeah, I think he's still coming because he has the option of bowling both off spin and leg spin. And
Hmm.
given how India have played spin, I have very little confidence. See, because you have to think in terms of fantasy, I have confidence in them scoring runs, but I'm
Hmm.
also confident that because they'll keep attacking, they might lose a wicket. And then Livingston
Correct.
also bats higher up the order. So
Right.
again, T20 format, you would rather back an all-rounder who could possibly contribute with both bat and ball, and he's in catching
Correct.
positions as well. So
Hmm.
that way also you can benefit.
Great. So I guess Liam becomes our ninth pick. Then we have 10 and 11. Like you mentioned, if India is going to be attacked by a lot of spin, it also means Surya would come into the game with the
Yes.
bat pretty well because he is probably, I would dare to say, the best player of spin at the moment. And that's what these 10 look like. So who's the 11th pick then? Who's the golden 11th pick here?
If India were chasing, I would have definitely taken Virat.
Hmm.
Uh, and also his last three scores are very good against England. I think he had a 50, 77, and some kind of that score when they played in India.
Hmm.
So again, you can definitely slot in one of Virat or Pant, whoever you feel is going to add uh, more
Hmm.
options.
So I have one input here. If we
Yeah.
feel like Virat is going to go early, and we also know that Rohit against left arm pacers can struggle at times, do you feel like one of
Yes.
Sam or Willie can make this last pick? Because at times Willie is expected to bowl his full quota, and at times can also bowl one at the death, while Sam might not bowl his full
100%
quota.
sure. 100%. It's a sound logic as well, because see, Rohit will again give you a good start, and
Hmm.
you have to hope that if he gets out to your bowlers. If not, then it is Jai Matadi for the game. Because if he stays, then you are out of the game.
That's true. So I guess this makes a good base 11. Apart from that, if you feel like India is going to be more in this game, then like he mentioned, you can go in with either Virat or Rishabh Pant because at the end of the day, even if the Indian bowlers have to come in and take wickets, for that they need a sizable amount of runs to be scored.
Yeah.
So if you feel like that is going to happen, then please go ahead and take the extra batter. Otherwise, I guess this looks like a decent combination. Then we have the captain and vice captain. So I think everybody's captain will be Hardik, but who is Nikhil vice captain?
Very tempted to take Joss, keep Joss as the captain because I don't think he's going to fail two games in a row and given his recent form as well. So
Hmm.
you have, I think, two are very obvious choices in Hardik and Butler. Uh,
Hmm.
if you want very, very risky options, you can definitely go with very out of the box option with Moeen Ali and David Mala.
Hmm.
Again, the combination has to be such that you're expecting Moeen to take wickets and Malan to anchor the chase. But if you
Correct.
feel that India will come good big time, then you can even go with Rohit and Virat because I think
Hmm.
they did have a very good opening stand once when they played together. So that can also
Right.
happen again. So I think it's if you're playing small leagues, I think Butler Hardik is a safe
Hmm.
combination. Hardik Chahal again, it's a great combination because second innings spin bowling will come into the picture. And if you want to go full Jai Matadi, then you can definitely go with Richard Gleason and UZ Chair. That will be proper baseball if you want to go down that route.
Right. And I think the last question that I have for you is, which many people would be thinking about, is will England come back and win this game to make the series more exciting? Because that will also change the balance of their team accordingly.
Yeah, I think I'll be very honest. India has a lot of players who have not quite been in T20 form.
Hmm.
So I think The match entirely depends on the form of those guys, and really disappointed to not see Deepak Hooda because not from the perspective of backing players, but again he was the guy in form. He was giving you the 30s, 40s for sure. And you compare that to even something like a Surya, I think he only had one good knock even from the Ireland series. He got a first bowler and then had a few runs before getting out. So, and Hardik is now the only guy who's played T20 enough in the last few weeks. So I think that is where the game will lie. If India
Hmm.
see through the first 10 overs, then I think India should win this. But again, England will want to come back. But if India put a good score, then they should seal this one.
Right. So as Nikhil bhai rightly mentioned, if you're looking at an England win, I guess this is a decent combination because this has seven
Yes.
England players. But if you feel like India is going to come back again and win another game, then you can back more Indian batters in either Virat or Pant and maybe reduce an England bowler from here. So I guess that is it from us. Apart from that, if you have any questions, you can let us know quickly and then we can wrap this up.
Yes, yes. Please back your gut feel. I think too many times we go by what others feel. If you want to go down, go do that as well, but play with your team as well. See how you are visualizing the game because that's how you win big by being unique and not being same as others.
Right. I guess one key question here that we have is can Bhuvi or Bumrah take wickets? So I think Nikhil bhai already addressed this. If you feel India is going to make a decent score, then please go ahead and take either both of Bumrah, Bhuvi, or either one. But for now, we are expecting that England should be able to come back and play decently in the second game. So we are backing more of the English bowling and a mix of the Indian middle order and top order.
Yeah. You can even
So,
take more.
hmm,
You can even reduce the batters if you want in your side, and pick say five bowlers. But again, it depends on the conditions. If both teams end up scoring 180, most of your bowlers will go waste, unless
right.
unless both teams take six, 7 wickets. So that's also a thing to ponder on. Back your instinct, it will be fine.
Right. I'll just share the team one final time so that you guys can see it and then we'll close this out. So Josh Butler is our vice captain. This is a team that is majorly for mini GLs and a few small leagues if
Yeah.
you want to play. Rohit Sharma and Surya Kumar Yadav as Indian batters, Jason Roy and Liam Livingston from England, Hardik Pandya, who is the safe captaincy choice, and we are going with him, Moeen Ali as a second all rounder, three English pacers in Gleason, Jordan, and Willie, and one Indian bowler, which is the spinner Yuzvendra Chahal. Apart from that, if you want to make any changes, I will also share a more risky T2 on the Telegram channel, so you can join us there. And if you feel like I'm taking too many risks, then please don't use that team. And stay
Yes.
tuned, stay subscribed to this channel. I'm gonna try and ask Nikhil bhai to do this more often. Like I can see many of you are happy in the comments. And any
Sure.
closing words from you, Nikhil bhai, before we wrap this up?
Just go Jai Mata Di, bats ball.
I guess that describes the fantasy journey of the last
Yes.
10 days. Anyway, great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in and thank you, Nikhil bhai.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a good game, guys. Happy winnings.
Thank you. Bye bye.